Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram,
Hare Hare,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna
Chaitanya
Krishna,
Prabhu
Hare Ram,
Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara
Krishna
Shivasadi
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Gaura
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Ram,
Krishna Krishna,
Jai
Hare
Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Krishna
Prabhu
Krishna,
Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura
Hare
Bhakta
Krishna,
Vrinda Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone. So today it is 16th of March. It is Saturday. Phalguna Masa or Govinda Masa, Sukla Paksham and Saptami Tithi. So there are no Vaishnav events today. So we shall quickly move into Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami speaking, Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. And so this human life is meant for self-realization. It is not meant for enjoying the temporary material comforts. So previously Brahma, he meditated on the Virat Rupa form of the Lord and he gained his consciousness, the Smriti, and he created this universe. And so during that time, Brahma also created all the Vedic hymns, and whatever the Vedic hymns is, they are dealing with only three material modes of nature. And so one should not be bewildered by hearing those Vedic hymns. So for the sacrifices to elevate to the heavenly planets, that is not the ultimate goal. And further, he says that one should accept only as much as needed, and then he has to endeavor for the self-realization. But intelligent people, they do it only for the self-realization, attaining the perfection of human life. Atah kavihi namasu yavadaddha syat pramatto vyavasaya buddhihi siddhe anyatardhe nayateta tatra parishramam tatra samikshamanaha. So kavihi namasu yavadaddha, they're always syat pramatto vyavasaya buddhihi, they're always attentive. And here they should be one should always be samikshamana, always assessing, is it required or not. Parishramam tatra samikshamana, whether this hard labor, endeavoring for material things, is it necessary or not? Is it going to help in the spiritual progress? That one has to always assess at every moment. Likewise, Sukadeva Goswami is saying, now he has come to the point that he is rejecting so many things. Why one has to accumulate so much of material comforts. So today he is saying, when we have got so much of land to sleep, why one need very comfort, cozy bed and keeping the heaters on and then putting nice pillows, soft clothes and soft, all these things, the pump, the bed, what is the need of it? Why don't one can sleep on the bad land? So this is very complete renunciation. Sukadeva Goswami. It may be possible some kind of where the land is proper, where the weather is, but it may not be applicable in all kinds of situations for all kinds of living entities. In the cold countries where people have got thin skin, otherwise they will die very quickly. So here, Sukadeva Goswami is saying in such kind of context where the land is proper, where the sun is rising at 6 o'clock, sun is setting at 6 o'clock, and where the weather is almost natural for the living entity to live. So Satyam Chitao Kim Kaspoho Priyasaihi. Sorry. So likewise, he is saying about the sleeping and also about the pillows and the beds. When we have got proper soft hands, why one need a pillows and beds? And when one has got nice palms to keep food in one hand and eat with another hand, what is the need of so many utensils? And when we have got all different directions as a clothing, and also there are so many tree barks or tree skins and so many other things to cover the body or the private parts of the body, what is the need of having the clothing? So this is the renunciation of the Sukadeva Goswami. He is saying that kind of things to reject why one has to accumulate so many comforts of material life. So likewise, Sukadeva Goswami is saying we are in the second canto, chapter number 2, verse number 4. सत्यां चिदौ किं कसिपोः प्रयासैः बाहो सुसिद्धेः उपबर्हनैः किं सत्यञ्जलौ किं पुरुद अन्नपात्र्या दिग्वल्क्यलादौ सति किं दुकूलैः सत्यां चितौ किं कसिपोः प्रयासैः सत्यां चितौ हि. And there is lots of land, flat land. Satyam, it is existence. The land is in the existence. Satyam chitau kim kasipoho prayasaihe. And what is the need of kasipoho, or the pillows and beds and cots? Kasipoho prayasaihe, with so much of endeavoring for it, with hard labor. So he is rejecting just straight away all the beds and cots and everything, and what to speak of the varieties of beds further. Satyam chidau kim kasipoho prayasaihi baho susiddhehi. And when we have got a baho, arms, or the hands with soft palms, baho susiddhehi. So they are naturally being self-sufficient for a living entity to keep under the head. Upabarhanaihi kim. Upabarhanaihi. These are the bed and bedstead. So the pillows and everything. When we lay on the ground, so we generally need the pillows. But here, Sukadeva Goswami is recommending so to keep your soft hands under your head as a pillow. That is sufficient. That is self-sufficient. One doesn't need to endeavor for the unnecessary cots and beds and varieties of those things, different colors, different shapes. That is all further. People create many things. Baho susiddhehi upavarhanaihi kim. What is the need of all these things when we have got a soft hands? Satyanjalau kim puruda annapatriya. Sati anjalau kim anjalau. So the palms, when we keep together, it become like a pot, small pot. Sati anjalau, when it is existing, kim puruda annapatriya. What is the need of all the varieties of utensils? Puruda annapatriya. Anna is the eatables or the food grains. To keep food, we need some kind of pot. When we have got hands, what is the need of it? All other varieties of utensils. Sati anjalo kim puruda annapatriya. Dig valkilado sati kim dukulaihi. Dik is the different, all the directions. There are 10 directions. East, and then southeast, south, and then southwest, and then west, and then western. So likewise 8 directions, and also the upper and the bottom, nadir and zenith. So these are the 10 directions. All this dik, valkilado, and it is all these different directions. They are appearing, and also valkalado, and there are skins of trees or tree barks when they are existing. Satikim, when they are existing. Kim dukolaihi, what is the need of all the clothes? Having different number of clothes, again colors of clothes. So here he is rejecting all such kind of things. सच्चांक्षितौ किं कसिपोः प्रयासैः बाहो सुसिद्धैः उपबर्हणैः किम् सति अंजलौ किं पुरुष अन्नपात्र्या दिग्वल्क्यलादौ प्रति किं दुकूलैः. So translation for this was, when there are ample earthly flats to lie on, what is the necessity of cots and beds? When one can use his own arms, what is the necessity of a pillow? When one can use the palms of his hands, what is the necessity of varieties of utensils? When there is ample covering or the skin of trees, what is the necessity of clothing? And purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So can I request any devotees, unallocated devotees, to read this purport? Or who has not taken a turn?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. Can I read, please?
Yes, Mataji, please.
Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The necessities of life for the protection and the comfort of the body must not be unnecessarily increased. Human energy is spoiled in a vain search after such illusory happiness. If one is able to lie down on the floor, then why should one endeavor to get a good bedstead or soft cushion to lie on? If one can rest without any pillow and make use of the soft arms endowed by nature, there is no necessity of searching after a pillow. If we make a study of the general life of the animals, we can see that they have no intelligence for building big houses, furniture, and other household paraphernalia, and yet they maintain a healthy life by lying down on the open land. They do not know how to cook or prepare foodstuff, yet they still live healthy lives more easily than the human being. This does not mean that human civilization should revert to animal life or that the human being should live naked in the jungles without any culture, education, and sense of morality. An intelligent human cannot live the life of an animal. Rather, man should try to utilize his intelligence in arts and science, poetry, and philosophy. In such a way, he can further the progressive in such a way he can further the progressive march of human civilization. But here the idea given by Srila Shukadeva Goswami is that the reserve energy of human life, which is far superior to that of animals, should simply be utilized for self-realization. Advancement of human civilization must be towards the goal of establishing our lost relationship with God, which is not possible in any form of life other than the human. One must realize the nullity of the material phenomena, considering it is passing phantasmagoria, and must endeavor to make a solution to the miseries of life. Self-compliance with a self-compliance with a polished type of animal civilization geared to sense gratification is delusion, and such a civilization is not worthy of the name. In pursuit of such false activities, a human being is in the clutches of Maya or illusion. Great sages and saints in the days of yore were not living in palatial buildings furnished with good furniture and so-called amenities of life. They used to live in huts and grooves and sit on the flat ground, and yet they have left immense treasure of high knowledge with the all perfection. Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatana Goswami were high-ranking ministers of state, but they were able to leave behind them immense writing on transcendental knowledge while residing only for one night underneath one tree. They did not live even 2 nights under the same tree, and what to speak of well-furnished rooms with modern amenities. And still they were able to give us most important literatures of self-realization. So-called comforts of life are not actually helpful for a progressive civilization. Rather, they are detrimental to such progressive life. In the system of Sanatana Dharma, of 4 divisions of social life and 4 orders of progressive realization, there are ample opportunities and sufficient directions for a happy termination of the progressive life, and the sincere followers are advised therein to accept a voluntary life of renunciation in order to achieve the desired goal of life. If one is not accustomed to abiding by the life of renunciation and self-abnegation from the beginning, one should try to get into the habit at the later stage of life, as recommended by Srila Shukadeva Goswami, and that will help one to achieve the desired success. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Thank you, Mataji. So here in this purport, this is the Sanatana Dharma. All the human energy is to be preserved only for the self-realization. And otherwise, animals also live like that. But here, whenever Sukadeva Goswami was entering into the arena of all the sages, at the time, the children and women were following him. He was naked, and his body was very beautifully formed. That was those descriptions we have seen in the first canto, at the end of the first canto. Now, such kind of renunciant is the Sukadeva Goswami. So now he is telling Parikshit, one has to live like that. And here, what is the need of? So I am the real example for it. Parinishtopi. So he's saying Parinistitopi. I am previously Parinishti. So completely by birth itself, I am completely renunciant. So I am able to live. Why not other people? So, and Prabhupada is further saying that it may be needed. Animals doesn't need such kind of comforts, humanly comforts, but humans. So we need all these things. A man should try to utilize all intelligence in arts and science, poetry, and philosophy. And people of even if we observe in Sanatana Dharma, they who are following it, they will take just very simple clothing, cotton clothing. If it is a man, he use all the white clothes. If it is a brahmachari, just only a dhoti. They do not cover even the upper part of the body. That is the Brahman and the brahmacharya. And the Grihastha they use only white clothing and cotton clothing, not with different colors, different varieties, or that one broken ones or torn ones. It is not like that. Just a clean white soft cloth, that is sufficient. And as soon as, even though one is wearing in the Grihastha with the different colors, but as soon as he reaches 50, immediately he will change to the white clothing. So saying that I am now free from all kinds of different materialistic conceptions. Now I am in the Varnashrama, Vanaprastha Dharma. Likewise, that is the indication. We also see so many people are going like that. And also for women, it is not prescribed. Women, as long as husband is in the home, they can wear colorly and decorating. It is the nature of the feminine feature of the woman. So they will have those qualities. But as soon as if there is no husband for a woman, women also wear white clothing without any decorations of her body. So that is also we see in the Sanatana Dharma. So the widows, they do not wear even the all kinds of decorations, just only plain white cloth. It is called Vaidhavyam. So that is and all the time, and the human life is meant for self-realization, chanting and spending time with the deities. So that is, if it is women are not allowed to go outside of the home, and even though if someone is coming across opposite to them, when the widow is going, they immediately go back and then they don't start any activity if they see the widow in the street. So that's such kind of widows, it is not comfortable in those days, but it still happens. But nowadays people are not following, even though one should not wear, but they are wearing all kinds of decorations. It is the deviation from the Sanatana Dharma. And also men are like that, even though they are in the older ages, still they are wearing different kinds of clothing. They are not following the Vanaprastha Dharma. So, but Prabhupada is mentioning here, one has to follow all such kind of renunciations from different kinds of material comforts and all those things. At least after retirement, one should try get into the habit at a later stage of life, recommended by Srila Sukadeva Goswami, and that will help one to achieve desired success. And like examples are Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. They used to sleep under one tree every night, not in the under the same tree more than one night, like that. And then Prabhupada mentioning this is considering it is a passing phantasmagoria. This is a dreaming world where one can live, but actually that doesn't exist. But people are bewildered like that. This is a delusion. It is not a worthy of name. So this kind of civilization is condemned. So that is from Srimad Bhagavatam. There is much, but time consciousness. Likewise, Sukadeva Goswami is saying here, Satcham chitau kim kasipoho prayasaihi baho susiddhehi upabarhanaihi kim Satchanjalau kim puruda annapatriya digvalkyalado satikim dukulaihi. That is from Srimad Bhagavatam. We shall quickly move into Srila Prabhupada's daily letter. So today letter to Hansadatta, January 23, 1970, Los Angeles. Can I request Sanchita Mataji to read this letter?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhanavad Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you. My dear Hangsadutta, please accept my blessings. I beg to acknowledge receipt of your letter dated 22nd January 1970, along with the daily Californian newspaper in which my letter regarding Krishna chanting has appeared. I am very glad to learn that the editor of the daily Californian was very impressed with it and kindly printed it in its entirety. You kindly try to understand the purport of my letter and preach it vigorously. In the meantime, I have received one letter from Krishna Das in Germany, and he reports that in Germany there is a very good scope of preaching a Krishna consciousness movement. In this connection, he writes as follows: if it is your desire, Prabhupada, with the organization of Germany's Sankirtan Party, we would like to make a tour of Germany during the summer, and if it is with your blessings, to open a second temple at least by the end of 1970, either in Berlin or Munich. Germany West has a population of 50 million, and that it is not including the East Germany. In England, there are over 60 million. But the difference lies in the concentration. In England, there are few large cities, London, Birmingham, Liverpool, etc. Whereas in Germany, the folk are spread in hundreds of towns all over Germany, and these towns are situated only short distances apart. Another hint of Germany's importance is that the German mark currency is one of the stablest monetary system in the whole world. As you have said many times previously, the Germans are very intelligent people. Now the only problem is to reach the people in large number, and this will be through Sankirtan Party and new temples, especially in main cities Berlin, Frankfurt, Cologne, Munich, Stuttgart, etc., all of which have a population of 500,000 to 1,000,000, except Berlin, which had 3 million. But there are centers of industry, trade, art, travel, and all have universities. So he suggests that your assistant in Germany would be very much favorable. Do you think that for some time you can go to a German center and organize it very nicely in cooperation with other members? If so, then you decide for yourself, and when you can come here and we shall talk further on this matter. Regarding the small press which you have purchased, I do not think you can divert your attention for printing separately our message, because that will require a separate energy and will not help in the matter of selling our BTG. If they receive such pamphlets, they will not be inclined to purchase BTG. Whatever you want to publish, you can send it in an article form to Boston for being printed in BTG, and with your Sankirtan parting, you may concentrate the selling of BTG as far as possible. The Xerox machine which you have purchased may be used for some other purposes, because when you have invested some money, it must be utilized. In the BTG, we are sufficiently printing pictures in our Sankirtana movement. Do you think any special advantage would be there by printing separately something which may minimize the sale of BTG? Regarding your question, you are right. When you write to say that everything about us, table, chairs, bricks, etc., is originally emanating from sound vibration, this is also admitted in the Christian Bible, wherein it is said that God said, "Let there be creation," and there was creation. So said means it was sound vibration, but this sound vibration is not material sound vibration, because before creation of material sky and sound, transcendental sound was there. So actually, the transcendental sound is the cause of the creation, but material sound is not transcendental sound. We have to go through transcendental sound. We have to receive transcendental sound through the transcendental channel. Therefore, Vedas are called Shruti. That means transcendental sound can be received through the ear. And by hearing this transcendental sound through the ear, our heart becomes spiritually purified. And we can realize at that stage the transcendental name, transcendental qualities, transcendental form, transcendental pastimes, etc. That is the way of descending process, because everything manifested in the creation of the original transcendental sound. Therefore, factually, everything is spiritual. But being covered by material cloud, we do not appreciate properly the spiritual nature of everything. The Krishna conscious movement uh, means gradually advancing towards the stage of spiritual realization. As such, the philosophy of Achinta Bheda Abheda Tattva is perfect. Everything is simultaneously one and different from the Supreme. One in quality, because the original source is the supreme whole, and the different in quantity. This quantitative difference becomes more and more separate by increase of material consciousness. The next question, the body of a pure devotee is all spiritual, and he is not different from his body. That is also a fact. The bodies of all living entities, even though they are not pure devotees, are not actually the bodies of the spirit soul. That it is always separate from the spiritual body. The Vedic mantra confirms it by the sound vibration that this spirit soul is always non-attached to the material body. Therefore, we do not see the actual spiritual body of the pure devotee. What we see is thus the matter. Just like the example is given here of a shining moon covered by the cloud. When the cloud moves along with the peeping moonshine, it appears that the moon is moving. Anyone who has seen such movement of cloud in the sky must have this experience. So the moving of the cloud may appear to layman's eye as the moving of the moon, but that is not the fact. Similarly, the moving of the body of a pure devotee is not the moving of the pure devotee. After all, these are facts for the process of realization, but we can try to understand them as far as possible from the statement of authorized scriptures through the version of spiritual master or saintly persons. Regarding dictaphone, I can send you presently the tapes of Krishna, and if Howard Resnick can work it nicely, it will be of great help. But before purchasing the dictaphone, you can hire it for a month to see how Mr. Resnick will work on it. Besides that, if you purchase a dictaphone, you should do it through the authorized dealer of Grundig. If you're if you're eager on hearing from you, I shall send one tape and let me see how it works. How does it work? I'm eagerly waiting to see Srimati Himavati and yourself as early as possible. I hope this will meet you in good health. Your ever well-wisher, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Postscript, your letter addressed to Boston address is certainly missing. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Mataji. Can you take your points, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhupada tried to do in bullet points because it's a big letter and conscious of the time. So Prabhupada here is acknowledging that Hansadutta, he had sent a newspaper from California which had Prabhupada's letter, and he asked him to go through the letter so that he can understand the purport and preach it as like transcendental knowledge. He can preach it vigorously. And then he shared a letter from Krishnadas, who was in Germany, and he was very eager to spread and enhance the spiritual movement in Germany. So, but he wanted more devotees, he needed more hands. So he shared his letter saying that how intelligent the Germans are, and the German mark, the currency, it's very stable, and unlike England, where the big cities are spread across, the German cities are very close to each other, so people are more concentrated in a big area. So it was easy, and there were many colleges and universities. So he said it was very easy to spread, but of course they wanted to build a new temple by the end of 1970. So for all this, of course, they needed more devotees there. So Prabhupada was suggesting if this devotee like Hansadutta, he could go there and help Krishnadas to spread the movement. And then he mentioned that, like, I think Hansadutta, they had purchased a small press and they wanted to print these pamphlets and spread it. But Prabhupada, he was like Prabhupada, of course, uh, he had so much of foresightedness. He knew that, like, if that is done, of course, people pamphlets are just one page, so people would read that and then will not be keen to buy this BTG book. And BTG magazines were the main source of income at that time. So he thought, if you do that, the sale of the magazine will decrease, but we should not do that. We should try to sell the magazine as much as possible in the Sankirtan party. So it was not necessary. And he said, if you want to write some article, then he can send it to the BTG magazine, and that can be printed. So another machine or a photocopy machine was not needed. And then I think he was answering to a few of his questions, which were quite philosophical, that he was asking whether the immovable things, the non-living objects like chairs, tables, bricks, do they have sound vibration emanating through them? Prabhupada then explained that, it's even explained in Christian Bible that let there be creation, and there was a creation. So here he said, it is through the sound vibration. It's the sound vibration which is not material. It comes from that. It's a transcendental sound vibration, and the channel is a transcendental channel. So which is the Vedas, like they are called Shrutis. So it's only through the Vedas that this transcendental. When we hear the mantras and the hymns, the transcendental sound, when we hear through our ear, our heart gets purified, and then only we can understand the transcendental tattva, which is like understanding the name, fame, the name, form, qualities, pastimes of the Lord, like Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it's like a descending process. And and he said Krishna consciousness is such a movement where, as we advance, we understand the spirit. We only understand the spirit. We get the spiritual realization. And one of the phrases which we use in the philosophy, which is the Achinta Bheda Abheda Tattva, he said it's like we are simultaneously one and different from the Supreme. That he is the supreme whole, spiritual whole, original source, and we are. So in that way, we are same with the Lord, but at the same time, we are different because we are such tiny plenary portions. Like, there's a main fire and there's the sparks. So the sparks, as far as the sparks go, as far as they go from the main fire, it doesn't have that tattva. So in that way, we become. So he said it increases the material consciousness. So we become less spiritual and more material. And that's the reason we are not able to, like he mentioned that, pure devotee's body is completely spiritual as his soul. His soul is spiritual and his body is spiritual. But for us, it's not the same. And the soul, he's not attached to any body. It moves from one body to another. And so it's like the sound vibration, it's not attached. Like it's he said the Vedic mantra confirms the sound vibration of the spirit soul is always non-attached to the the material body. So therefore, with our material body, we are not able to understand pure devotee. What we see is like a material body. So even if we see a pure devotee, we are with our like imperfect senses, we are not able to understand that he's completely, his body and his soul, everything is spiritual. And then he's given the analogy of the moving clouds on a shining moon. So when the cloud moves, it appears that the moon is also moving, but it's not that. So it's only the moon is where it is, but only the clouds moon. But for the layman's eyes, because the senses are imperfect, we cannot understand that. So that's the problem with our realization, that we do not understand the complete tattva of the spiritual realization. And then he mentioned that, about purchase and dictaphone. Prabhupada, he wanted to keep accountability of every penny, that it's not wasted. So I think about his Krishna books, he said, Prabhupada said, I can make the tapes of Krishna, the translation. And then some person like Howard Resnick, he was writing the books, and he said if he knows how to use the dictaphone properly, then only it's recommended to buy. So before buying, he was saying if you just hire one, then it's easier that if he uses it properly, then only it's better to buy, so that the money doesn't get waste. So, and then he suggested that you buy it from an authorized dealer. And once that thing is confirmed, then only Prabhupada will send the tapes, which can then take in the form of translating the books and all. So that's all, Prabhu. And then he was waiting for Srimati Himavati and himself to hear. And one of the letters, I think he went missing from Boston. So that's all, Prabhu. Like, there was lots of tattva, and I just summed it up as quickly as possible, taking minimum time. But sorry if I've taken a lot of time and missed some of the realization. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for kindly summarizing this letter. It's a very large letter. So one point here Prabhupada is mentioning about, so the question was, can anything come from a like materialistic items like the iron, bricks, stones, and all these things from a invisible sound? Can it be possible? Prabhupada is giving these answers here. Everything comes from the transcendental sound vibration, because in the beginning of the creation, how it comes, 3 material modes of nature and all the 24 elements, and 24 elements come from the 3 material modes of nature. From the goodness, this mind comes, and also from the passion, intelligence comes. Likewise, the ego and then consciousness, it is which is the these are all mana buddhi, chittam, ahankara. These are the 4 antahkaranas. So they exist. So after these elements, from the mode of ignorance, and that is called the shabda, that is entered. It comes from the transcendental sound. So because to accommodate that sound, the space exists, the sound and then space, and then to receive that sound, the ears manifested. Likewise, all other, and then later on, because there is a sky, and then the sense of touch, and then sense of touch, and then air to accommodate, to perceive that sense of touch, the skin. It forms all the 15 elements in a very sequential manner. So that is how, but what is the source? Whenever at the end, what it comes? The earth, and earth is manifested, and the smell, and then the nose. These are the way of manifesting. So initially the sound, at the end there is a earth. Earth is the material which we can see, but sound we cannot see. So that is Prabhupada is bringing that analogy from and also referring to the Christian Bible as well, so that let there be a creation. So if someone is saying, means there is a person, the sound is coming from a person. Okay, so that is one thing that we can accommodate as per the Srimad Bhagavatam. That is my takeaway. There is much, but that is from Srila Prabhupada's letter. Any other points, dear devotees, any bullet points from this letter? Hare Krishna. Okay, so that is from Srila Prabhupada's letter. And from the announcements point of view, so today evening we have got our Bhagavad Gita Sangha with Antaranga Prabhuji. And also yesterday I have first one. So this is a small questions kind of thing to the devotees to understand whether devotees are reading or referring or just doing just little small things, so that because I feel all my devotees are they're close to my heart, and I always wanted to check them sometimes with small kinds of questions. So yesterday, all devotees, I was asking what are the symbols in the legs, in the feet of the lotus feet of the Lord. So, but devotees, because they understand in a Sarvata Panipadam, Sarvatokhi Siromukam, Lord's hands, legs, and everywhere they spread likewise. They think there is no difference between hands and feet. And then they answered such kind of questions like 4 hands and 4 symbols. But actually, my question was in the lotus feet, what are the 4 symbols? And I gave the reference. So that is only to check the devotees to, it is kind of a teasers sometimes. Okay, so that is one thing. So kindly check these questions carefully. Okay, so we shall move on to the next part of our program, recitations of the Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, first chapter. So, dear devotees, I think you have already selected the verses that you are reciting. So, can I request devotees to go in a sequence? Initially,
Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, ma'am. Shall I start, Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji. Yes.
Okay. Chapter 1, the first step in good realization. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Sri Sukha Uvacha Variyane Sate Prasnaha Krito Loko Hitam Drupa Atma Vitma Sammattaha Pumsa Srota Vyadeshu Yaha Paraha. Sri Shukadev Goswami said, My dear king, your question is glorious because it is very beneficial to all kind of people. The answer to this question is the prime subject matter for hearing, and it is approved by all transcendentalists. Srotavyadini Rajendra Drona Santi Sahasrasaha Apashyatat Apashyatam Atma Tattvam Gruhesu Gruhamedina. Those persons who are materially engrossed, being blind to the knowledge of ultimate truth, have many subject matters for hearing in human society, O Emperor. Nindraya hiyate naktam vyavayena cha vavayaha diva cha arthe hai virajan kutumba bharane nava. The lifetime of such an envious householder is passed at night either in sleeping or in sex indulgence, and in the daytime either in making money or maintaining family members. Dehapatya kaladrates Atma Sainye सत् सत्स्वपि तेषां प्रमतो निधनं पश्यन्नपि न पश्यति. Person devoid of Atma Tattva do not inquire into the problems of life, being too attached to the fallible soldiers like the body, children, and wife. Although sufficiently experienced, they still do not see that a inevitable destruction. तस्मात् भारत सर्वात्मा भगवानीश्वरो हरिः श्रोतव्यः कीर्तितव्यश्च स्मर्तव्यश्च इच्छताभयम्. O descendant of Bharata, one who desired to be free from all miseries must hear about, glorified, and also remember the personality of Godhead, who is the super soul, the controller, and the savior from all miseries. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Can I request next devotee?
Krishna. Text 6. Etavan Sankhya Yogabhyam Swadharma Parinishthaya Janmala Parapumsam Ante Narayana Smriti. The highest protection of human life, achieved either by complete knowledge of matter and spirit, by practice of mystic powers, or by perfect discharge of occupational duty, is to remember the personality of Godhead at the end of life. Text 7. Prayena punoyo rajan nivritta vidi sedataha nairgunyasta ramante sma gunan nukatane harihi. O King Parishit, mainly the topmost transcendentalists, who are above the regulative principles and restrictions, take pleasure in describing the glories of the Lord. Text 8. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Aditavan Vandvaparadvau Piturdvaipa Payadad Aham. At the end of the Dwapar Yuga, I studied this great supplement of Vedic literature named Srimad Bhagavatam, which is equal to all the Vedas from my father, Srila Dvaipanayana Vasudev. Text 9. Parinishthito pinya gunya utama sloka lilaya greta seta rajarse abhiyanam yadaditavan. O saintly king, I was certainly situated perfectly in transcendence, yes, yet I was still attracted by the delineation of the pastimes of the Lord, who is described by enlightened verses. Text 10. Tadaham te vidhashyami mahapurushiko bhavan yasya shradadhatamashu shyan mukunde mati sati. That very human Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, I shall recite before you because you are the most sincere devotee of Lord Krishna, one who gives full attention and respect to hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, achieves unflinching faith in the Supreme Lord, the giver of salvation.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Text 11. Eta nidrayamananam ichchatamakto bhayam yoginam nripa nirnitam harir namanukirtanam. Translation. O King, constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord after the ways of the great authorities is the doubtless and fearless way of success for all, including those who are free from all material desires, those who are desirous of all material enjoyment, and also those who are self-satisfied by dint of transcendental knowledge. Text 12. किं प्रमत्तस्य भूभिः परोक्षैर्ह्यानैरिह वरं मुहूर्तं विदितं कृते श्रेयसे यतः. Translation. What is the value of a prolonged life which is wasted, inexperienced by years in this world? Better a moment of full consciousness, because that gives one a start in searching after his supreme interest. Text 13. Katvango nama rajarshai ज्ञात्वे यथम् इहायसः मुहूर्तः सर्वम् उत्सृज्य गतवान् abhayam harim. Translation. The saintly King Katwanga, after being informed that the duration of his life would be only a moment more, at once freed himself from all material activities and took shelter of the supreme safety, the personality of Godhead. Text 14. तवाप्येत हि कौरव्याम् सप्ताहम् जीवितावधिः उपकल्पया तत्सर्वम् तावद् यत् सम्प्रयिकम्. Translation. Maharaja Parikshit, now your duration of life is limited to 7 more days. So during this time you can perform all those rituals which are needed for the best purpose of your next life. Text 15. Antakale tu purusha agate gatasadvashaha Kindyad asangas shastrena devena. Translation. At the last stage of one's life, one should be bold enough not to be afraid of death, but one must cut off all attachment to the material body and everything pertaining to it and all desire thereof.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So can I request next devotee 16 to, so no devotees are allocated. Can I request Gaurangi Mataji if Hare Krishna Gaurangi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Okay. अंतकाले तु पुरुष आगते गतसाधवसः छिन्द्यदसङ्गशस्त्रेण स्पृहं देहानुयेचतम्. Translation. At the last stage of one's life, one should be bold enough not to
Apologies,
be
Mataji.
afraid.
Apologies, Mataji. It is verse number 16 onwards.
Okay, Prabhuji. Once time, yeah, Prabhuji?
16 onwards, Mataji. Yeah.
Okay. गृहात् प्रव्रजितो धीरः पुण्यतीर्थजलाप्लुप्तः शुचौ विविक्त आसीनो विधिवत्कल्पितासने. Translation. One should leave home and practice self-control. In a sacred place, he should bath regularly and sit down in a lonely place duly sanctified. Text 17. Abhyasen manasa suddham trivridha brahmacharam param mano yache jita swaso brahma bijam bismaran. Translation. After sitting in the above um, manner, make the mind remember the three transcendental letters A, U, M, and by regulating the breathing process, control the mind so as not to forget the transcendental seed. Text 18. Niyache dvisa yebhyo achan manasa buddhi sarathi manaha karma virachiptam subharthi dharaye dviya. Translation. Gradually, as the mind becomes progressively um, spiritualized, withdraw in from sense activities, and by intelligence, the sense will be controlled. The mind to absorbed in material activities can be engaged in the service of the personality of Godhead and become fixed in full transcendental consciousness. Text 19. तत्रैकावयं ध्यायेदयुच्छिन्नेन चेतसा मनो निर्विषयं युक्त्वा ततः किञ्चन न स्मरेत् पदं तत्परं विष्णोर्मनो यत्र प्रसीदति. Translation. Uh, Thereafter, you should meditate upon the limbs of Vishnu one after another without being deviated from the conception of the complete body. Thus, the mind becomes free from all sense objects. There should be no other thing to be thought upon because the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, is the ultimate truth. The mind becomes completely recognized in Him one day. Text 20. रजस्तमोभ्यामक्षिप्तं विमूढं मनात्मनः यच्छेद्वारणायाधीरो हन्ति यत्तत्कृतं मलम्. Translation. One's mind is always um, excited by the passionate mode of material nature and bewildered by the ignorant mode of nature. But one can recitly such conception by the relation of Vishnu and those become pacified by cleansing the uh, dirty things created by them. Text 21. Yasyam sandharyamanayam yogino bhaktilachyanaha asu sampadhyati yoga asayam bhadramichataha. Translation. O King, by this system of remembrance and by being fixed in the habit of seeing the all good personal conception of the Lord, one can very soon attain devotional service to the Lord under his direct shelter. Text 22. Rajovacha यथा सन्धार्यते ब्रह्मन् धारणायतसम्मता यादृशेव हरिदासु पुरुषस्य मनोमलम्. Translation. The fortunate king Parikshit, inquiring further, said, O Brahmana, please describe in full detail how and where the mind has to be appealed, and how the conception can be fixed so that the dirty thing in a person's mind can be removed. Text 23. Sri Sukavacha जितासनो जितश्वासो जितसङ्गो जितेन्द्रियः स्थूले भगवतो रूपे मनः सन्धारयेद्रिया. Translation. Sukadeva Goswami answered, one should control the sitting posture, regulate the breathing process by the yogic pranayama, and thus control the mind and sense, and with intelligence apply the mind to the gross potencies of the Lord, called the Virat Rupa. Text 24. Vishesastasya deho ayam istabhisthasva istabhiyasam yatredam vyajyate visham bhutam bhavyam bhavachasat. Translation. This gigantic manifestation of the phenomenal material world as a whole in the personal body of the absolute truth, wherein the universal resultant past, present, and future of material time is experienced. Text 25. अंडकोशे शरीरे अस्मिन् सप्तभरंसयुते वैराजः पुरुषो यो आसौ भगवान् धारणाशयः. Translation. The genetic universal form of the personality of Godhead within the body of the universal cell, which is covered by sevenfold material elements, is the subject for the Virat conception.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Very beautifully recited.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Can I request Meena Mataji next?
Hare Krishna. पातालमैतेश हि पादमूलं पठन्ति पाशी प्रपते तलातलं युक्तस्य च person who have realized it have studies that the planet known as Patala constitute the bottom of the
Could you please, we could not hear the verse. Could you please recite again?
पातालमेतस्य हि पादमूलं पठन्ति प्रासी प्रपति रसातलं महातलं विश्वशोजस्तगुप्तो गुप्तो तलातलं वे पुरुषस्य जति. Person who has realized it has studies that the planet known as Patala constitute the bottom of the feet of the universal Lord, and the hills and the toes are the Rasatal planet, the ankle are the Mahatal planet, and his songs constitute the Talatal planet. द्विजानुनीसूतलं विश्वमूर्ति रुदर्दयं द्वितलं चातलं च महीतलं तजतनं महीपते नभस्थलं नाभिसरो गुणन्ति. The knee of the universal form are the planetary system of the name Sutala, and the two things are thick thighs are the Vitala and the Atala planetary system. The The hips are Mahatala, and outer space is the depression of his navel. पुरस्थलं ज्योतिरनेकमस्य ग्रीवामहवदनं वेजनोष्य तपोवराटी विदुरादिभूषण सत्यं तु शेषाणि सहस्रकृष्ण. The chest of the original personality of the gigantic form is the humanity pleasure system. His neck is the Mahal planets, his mouth is the Janas planets, and his forehead is the Tapa planetary system. The topmost planetary systems known as Satyaloka is the head of he who has 1,000 heads. इन्द्रादयो ब्राह्मय च आहुरस्त्रा कणो दिशसोऽस्त्रमुष्य शब्द नासस्य पदस्थ्यो परमस्य नासे त्राणोष्य गन्धो मुखमग्निरिति. His arms are the demigods headed by Indra. The 10 directionally sides are his ears, and physically sound is his sense of hearing. His nostrils are the two fumaroles, and material fragrance is the sense of smell. His mouth is the blazing fire. चोरक्षिणी च अक्षुरभूत्पतन्द वक्ष्यामि विष्णो रहनि उभे च तदपि विचुल्भ परमे स्थितस्य मापोऽस्य तालुरस एव चिह्नः. The spheres of outer space constitutes his eye pits, and the eyeball is the sun or is the power of seeing. His eyelids both the both the day and night, and in the movement of his eyebrows, Brahma and similarly Supreme Personality reside. His plates, his plate is the direction of water, Varuna, and his juice of essence of everything in is his tongue. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Mataji. Very beautifully recited. So can I request next Malati Mataji? Hare Krishna, Malati Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
So, verse recited.
Okay, Prabhu. छन्दस्मम् अनन्तस्य शिरो ग्रन्थि द्रष्टायमः स्नेहकला दिजानि हसो जन्मो नाम दकरी च माया दुरन्त सर्गो यदा पाङ्गो मोक्षः. Translation. They said that the Vedic hymns are the cerebral passage of the Lord, and his judge of teeth are a Yama, god of death, who punishes the sinners. The art of affection in his set of teeth, and the most alluring illusory materials and
energy is his smile. This great ocean of material creation is but the casting of his glance over us. Um, मृदोत्तरस्त्वं धर इव लोभः धर्मं सन्तो न धर्म पथो स्याप्रस्तम् कस्तस्यामिदरं व्रसनो च मित्रौ कुशी स समुद्र गिर्या स्थितिसङ्गहम्. Translation. Modesty is the upper portion of his lips, anchoring his chin. Religion is the breast of the Lord, and irreligion is his back. Brahmaji, who generated all living beings in the material world, is his genitals, and the Mitra Varunsa are his two testicles. The ocean is his waist, and the hills and mountains are the stakes of his bone. नदयो स्यानदयो तथा तनुरुहनि महिरुहा विश्वातनोर नरपेन्द्र अनन्तवीर्यहं सविस्तिं मत्र शिवः गत्रीवयः कर्म गुणप्रभः. O king, the rivers are the vanish of the genetic body, the trees and the hair of his body, and the omnipotent air is his breath. The passing is are his movement, and his activities are the reaction of the three mode of one material nature. 34. ईस्याकेशनं विदुरहं भुवनः वसास्वतु सन्ध्यां कुकरवरः वर्यभूमनः अवक्तम् अहोराहृदयं मनसा च सचन्द्रमहं सर्वविग्रहकोशः. O best amongst the Kurus, the clouds which carry water are the hair of his head, and the termination of days or the night are his dress, and the supreme cause of material creation is intelligence. His mind is the moon and the reservoir of all changes. विजयान संकितं महिम अमनन्ति सर्वातनो नथ करङ्गं किरीत्रम् अवस्यस्वत्र उस्त्र गाज नखनि सर्वमर्गः पशव सर्वे मिग्रः पशवश्रेणिदेशे. The principle of matters, Mahatattva, is the consciousness of the omnipresent Lord as asserted by the experts, and Rudras is his ego. The horse, mule, camel, and elephant are his nails, and wild animals and all quadrupeds are situated in the belt zone of the Lord.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Krishna.
Very beautifully recited. Can I request Sanchita Mataji?
Hare Krishna. Vayamsi tadvyakaranam vichitram manurmanisha manjuso nivasaha gandharva vidyadhara charanapsaraha swarasmitir asuranika viryaha. Varieties of birds are indications of his masterful artistic sense. Manu, the father of mankind, is the emblem of his standard intelligence and the humanity of his residence. The celestial species of human beings, like the Gandharvas, Vidyadharas, Charanas, and angels, all represent his musical rhythm, and the demoniac soldiers are representations of his wonderful prowess. ब्रह्माननं शत्रभुजो महात्मा विद्युयुरङ्घ्रिश्रितकृष्णवर्णः नानाभिधाभिज्य गणोपपन्नो द्रव्यात्मकः कर्म वितानयोगः. The Virat Purusha's face is the Brahmanas, his arms are the Kshatriyas, his thighs are the Vaishyas, and the Sudras are under the protection of his feet. All the worshipable demigods are also overtaken by him, and it is the duty of everyone to perform sacrifices with feasible goods to appease the Lord. यान् असाव ईश्वर विग्रहस्य यः सन्निवेश कथितो मया ते सन्ध्यार्तेऽस्मिन् वपुषि स्वविष्ठे मनः स्वबुद्ध्या न यस्तोऽस्ति किञ्चित्. I have thus explained to you the gross, material, gigantic conception of the personality of Godhead. One who seriously desires liberation concentrates his mind on this form of the Lord, because there is nothing more than this material world. सर्वाधिवृत्य अनुभूत सर्व आत्मा यथा स्वप्ने जनेशितैक्यः तत्सत्यम् आनन्दनिधिं भजेत नान्यत्र सज्जेद् यत आत्मपतः. One should concentrate his mind upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who alone distributes himself in so many manifestations, just as ordinary persons create thousands of manifestations in dreams. One must concentrate the mind on him, the only all blissful absolute truth. Otherwise, one will be misled and will cause his own degradation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Very beautifully recited, and all the devotees. It was very blissful. Okay, so with this one, so chapter 1 recitation is completed. That is from the recitation's perspective. So next part is the Srimad Bhagavatam. We got very few minutes only, but the Srimad Bhagavatam, the second canto, the 9th chapter, after Chatushloki Bhagavat, there is only one shloka that Lord spoke to Brahma. So that needs to be covered. But I request we shall continue that one in the next Saturday, if you like. Otherwise, we can cover at least purport some paragraphs. Okay, just very quickly go in there. Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, chapter 9. So it is verse number 37. So in the last session, we completed 4th Chatushloki Bhagavata. So now that is Ahameva. I also request all the devotees to remember the 4 shlokas, Chatushloki Bhagavata. That is 32, 33, 29, 32, 29, 33, 34, 35, 36. So I think 33 to 36. So now this is 37 is the conclusive verse. Ahamevasamevagre nanyad yadsad asat param pashadaham yedetaccha yoshisheta sosmyaham. Pritiyadham yat pritiyeta na pritiyet chapmani tadvijjat atmano mayam yata bhatu yata tamaha. Yada mahanti bhutani bhuteshu chavacheshunu pravistani apravistani tatateshu natveshvaham. And then final verse is the so it is very beautiful verse. Yetavadyeva jijñāsam tatvijñāsmatmanah anvaya vitirekābhyam yatsyat sarvatra sarvada. These are the 4 verses. Now this is the conclusive verse. We also last week also we mentioned this one. Etanmatam samatishta paramena samadhina bhavan kalpa vikalpeshu na vimuhiti karihechet. So he said, the Lord is saying to Brahma, Etan matam samatishta. So this kind of conclusion, O Brahma, samatishta, you always situate and fix yourself within this conclusion. Etan matam samatishta paramena samadhina. By the supreme samadhina, concentration of the mind. and you situate on the which is transcendental to this material world. Paramen samadhina bhavan kalpa vikalpeshu. So by that yourself kalpa vikalpeshu in the intermediate devastation time or in the final devastation time. So bhavan kalp vikalpeshu na vimuhitihi karhe chet, and you will never ever be bewildered anything like complacence like that. The Lord is saying to Brahma. So you remember these 4 verses. So this is Lord is also advising Brahma to remember these 4 verses, and also to all of our devotees as well. Remember these 4 verses all the time. एतन् मतं समाधिष्ठ परमेन समाधिना भवान् कल्प विकल्पेषु न विमुहितिः करिचेत्. O Brahma, just follow this conclusion by fixed concentration of mind, and no pride will disturb you, neither in the partial nor in the final devastation. So just we'll read one paragraph, maybe we shall cover later. Can I request any devotee to read the purport, first paragraph?
Krishna, Mary.
Yes, Mataji, please.
As in the Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter, the personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, has summarized the whole text in 4 verses, namely Aham Sarvesva Prabhava, Aham Sarvesya Prabhava, etc. So the complete Srimad Bhagavatam has also been summarized in 4 verses as Aham Eva Swam Eva Evagre, etc. Thus, the secret purpose of the most important Bhagavad Gita conclusion has been explained by the original speaker of the Srimad Bhagavatam, who was also the original speaker of the Bhagavad Gita, the personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. There are many grammarians and non-devotee material wranglers who have tried to present false interpretations of these 4 verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam. But the Lord himself advised Brahmaji not to be deviated from the fixed conclusion the Lord had taught him. The Lord was the teacher of the nu- nucleus of Srimad Bhagavatam in 4 verses, and Brahma was the receiver of the knowledge misinterpretations of the word aham by the word jugglery of the impersonalist should not disturb the mind of the strict followers of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is the text of the personality of Godhead and his unalloyed devotee, who are also known as the Bhagavatas, and any outsider should have no access to this confidential literature of devotional service. But unfortunately, the impersonalist who has no relation to the Supreme Personality of Godhead sometimes tries to interpret Srimad Bhagavatam by his poor fund of knowledge in grammar and dry speculation. Therefore, the Lord and through Brahma warns Brahma and through Brahma all future devotee of the Lord in the disciplic succession of Brahma, that one should never. Shall I carry on, Prabhu? Yeah, that one should never be misled by the conclusion of the so-called uh, grammarians or by other men with a poor fund of knowledge, but must always fix the mind properly via the parampara system. No one should try to give a new interpretations by dint of mundane knowledge. And the first step, therefore, in pursuance
of the system of knowledge received by Brahma is to approach a bona fide guru who is a representative of the Lord following the parampara system. No one should try to squeeze out his own meaning by imperfect mundane knowledge. The guru or the bona fide spiritual master is competent to teach the uh, disciple in the right path with reference to the context of all authentic Vedic literature. He does not attempt to juggle words to bewilder the student. The bona fide spiritual master, by his personal activities, teaches the disciple the principle of devotional service. Without personal service, one would go on speculating like the impersonalists and dry speculators life after life and would be unable to reach the final conclusion. By following the instruction of the bona fide spiritual master in conjunction with the principles of the revealed scriptures, the student will rise to the plane of complete knowledge, which will be exhibited by development of a detachment from the world of sense gratification. The mundane wranglers are surprised that one can detach himself from the world of sense gratification, and thus any attempt to be fixed in good realization appear to them to be mysticism. This detachment from the sensory world is called the Brahma-bhuta stage of realization, the preliminary stage of transcendental devotional life. Parabhakta. The Brahma-bhuta stage of life is also known as the Atma Rama stage, in which one is fully self-satisfied and does not hanker for the world of sense enjoyment. This state of full satisfaction is the proper situation of understanding the uh, transcendental knowledge of the personality of Godhead. The Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.20 affirms this. Hare Krishna. Shall I read in Prabhu? That's it.
Just verse until verse, Mataji.
Okay. एवं प्रसन्न मानस भगवत्भक्ति योगितः भगवत्तत्त्वविज्ञानं मुक्ता संघर्ष जायते.
Thank you so much,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna, Shri Prabhu.
And also these 2 lines as well. Thus, in the
Yes.
completely
Yes,
satisfied
the
stage of life,
satisfied stage of life exhibited by full detachment from the world of sense enjoyment as a result of performing devotional service, one can understand the science of God in the liberated stage. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. So this purport is again bit longer purport, not as much as before. This is the conclusive verse. So now I request, dear devotees, you have been attentively hearing all the Srimad Bhagavatam Chatushlokis. So I request your comments and additions in this conclusive verse. And your takeaway points. Generally, as you read Prabhupada's letters and takeaway points, now it is the purport and what are the takeaway points so that you can understand from this purport. One or 2 bullet points are sufficient. So here Prabhupada also bringing from the Srimad Bhagavad Gita 10th chapter. So this is sometimes devotees asked in the who said like Bhagavad Gita 10.8, 9, 10, 11. 4 shlokas are Chatashloki of Bhagavad Gita. So here Prabhupada is mentioning here the personality of Godhead Lord Krishna has summarized the whole text in 4 verses, namely, Aham sarvasya prabhavaha mattah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam bhudabhava samanvitaha. Tesham sata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhiyogam tam yenaman upayanti te. Macchitta madghata prana bodhayanta parasparam katayantasya mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Tesham yevanukampardham aham adhnanajam tamaha nasiyami atma bhavasto aham adhnanajam tamaha. So this is the 4 verses of Chatushloki of Bhagavad Gita, the Krishna spoke. And here Prabhupada is comparing those 4 verses against Srimad Bhagavatam of 4 shlok. Aham evasam evagre until etavad jeva jijnasam tat vijnasanatmanah. These 4 verses, compatible verses, that devotees can see those 4 verses. And also Prabhupada is mentioning about the Mayavadas, how they deviate the meanings of or interpretations of these 4 verses. And sometimes Brahma. So here Lord himself advised Brahmaji not to be deviated from the fixed conclusion of the Lord had taught him, these 4 verses. One has to fix this consciousness. And misinterpretation of the word jugglery by the Mayavadis or impersonalists should not disturb the mind of the strict followers of Srimad Bhagavatam. But in the Mayavada philosophy is so strong, sometimes it will agitate the devotees as well. So Prabhupada mentions in that purport, that was in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, chapter 7 and verse number 110. In the purport, Prabhupada mentions sometimes the Mayavadis, they also try to change the consciousness of Vaishnavas. Even great Bhagavata also sometimes get bewildered about Mayavada's strong. So Swarupa Damodara Goswami, the close associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, says it is a foolishness to hear, even to try to understand from the Mayavada perspective. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu strongly condemned to hear any kind of Mayavada philosophy at all. That happened in the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time. And also, so many times some devotees, they wanted to hear to acquire more knowledge, but get bewildered, deviated. So that one also, it is very strong. So just to show that a glimpse of what Prabhupada is trying to mention is Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Leela, that the statements of Prabhupada in the purport, it is very strong. So here, the Mayavada philosophers have presented their arguments in such attractive, flowery language that hearing Mayavada philosophy may sometimes change the mind of even Mahabhagavata or very advanced devotee. An actual Vaishnava cannot tolerate any philosophy that claims God and living beings to be one and the same. So that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he strongly says, and Swarupa Damodar Goswami says that anyone who is eager to understand Maya philosophy must be considered insane. So one has to be always conscious that one is reading only from the Vaishnava Acharya's explanations and commentary. They are aligning with the Krishna Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, that everything aligns. Otherwise, they will push the devotees away from the Krishna. That is Kalaya Manshadishu. Krishna mentions in there itself. People who are Dwaparadav Yuge Bhutva Kalaya Manshadishu. Swagamaihi Kalpita Hetum Cha Janan Mad Vimukan Kuru. That who are not stable in the mind and fixed consciousness, they will be diverted. So that's why we should not hear any Maya other philosophy, but they interpret in a different way, giving misinterpretations. Kalpitaihi tumcha that is giving misinterpretations. Okay, so that is it is for the Srimad Bhagavatam is only for the pure devotees, not for the impersonalist or some other ones. It is on the highest transcendental platform. Nigamakalpataror ghalitam palam. So that is so now we are 5 minutes past already 8 o'clock. I also request dear devotees to add any comments to this purport or your takeaways. And so
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I had a question. The we normally read the Srimad Bhagavatam that has been coming through a parampara and the purpose translated by Prabhupada. But I was just there. I've seen like other Sanatanis. Like I have no knowledge, but I'm saying like they worship God and different like as it was done in India. So all the demigods as well as Krishna. Keeping Krishna in the center and as well as all the demigods. So I've seen Bhagavatam in their house also. So if of course they're not the translation in purport not done by Prabhupada. So, but the philosophies when we have spoken to them, the philosophies they say, of course, not discussing everything elaborately, but some points nearly more or less same. So is that also considered a Mayavadi? I'm not sure. I'm just asking. So.
So there, if their consciousness fixed in Krishna, that is the only how strong it is fixed. That we can see by their activities, their words, and their thoughts. Thoughts anyway in the mind, we cannot see their mind, but whenever they speak or whatever the activities they perform, based on that we understand whether this person is situated and fixed his consciousness in Krishna or not. As simple as that.
Okay, yeah, they do understand Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and at the same, they do read Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, doing the bhajans and kirtans, but not in the like ISKCON format way, in their own, the other bhajans which we have in India and all, and at the same time worship like Durga Devi, Shiv, Parvati, Ganesh, and all that. So yeah, that means what I'm trying to understand is like the Bhagavatams they read from as they appear to us. So they wouldn't be considered as, done by Mayavadis, is it? Like
there are some devotees also translated Bhagavatam. So, for example, in South India, in Telugu language, Srimad Bhagavatam is translated by Potana Mahatma Bhakta Potana. So he has given all good interpretations everywhere, but in the beginning he also asking for I wanted to by doing these translations I will get Kaivalya. So that means he is in the way devotee of Lord Shankara, but he has translated that one, and he showed his devotion to Krishna as well. So there, but his ultimate destination is to merge into Supreme Brahman. But his literature explains as a devotional things. So there are few things, but we should not see such kind of deviations here in the Prabhupada's explanations. Some, if they have situated other devotees situated in Krishna consciousness, and are they following regulative principles, waking up, attending Mangalarati? It is Krishna, it is ISKCON format, but in the normal also in Sanatana Dharma, one has to wake up by 4 o'clock, that is Brahma Muhurta, take bath uh, and see the take darshana and then follow all such kind of uh, principles. That is there. If we go to the temples, we see all this format is followed automatically by the Brahmanas in the throughout the day, offerings to the Lord, and then darshana in different break times. But we need to see their activities as well. Devotees are chant 16 rounds a day, follow all the Ekadasi vratas and fastings for the gurus and acharyas, appearance and disappearance days. So that is there. So do they follow like strict vows? That also needs to be considered.
Yes, Prabhu, that is one part which I have not seen, like, the chanting and the other Vaishnava etiquettes that are prescribed in, like, of course, Vaishnava is not only, it's a bigger term than ISKCON, so as a Vaishnava Acharyas have done from so many years, but it's a still, we don't see that, but yeah, I was asking about the translation, but yeah, I do understand what you're saying, that in South India also, some other devotee has done, so maybe in Hindi also, devotees have done, but they're reading it. They understand the philosophy, but maybe not following the Vaishnav etiquette. So yeah, I do understand that. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Radha Mataji, you have got something to say?
It's just the one point that 2 points that Srila Prabhupada, Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that even if somebody is worshipping like Lord Shiva or a demigod, and they have an affection, so not like just material, but they have an affection to that particular form of the Lord, then he gives them the intelligence to worship that Lord. And he also says that ultimately they're all worshipping him anyway. And
what is the reference, Mataji, for that?
I can't remember. I'll find it. Where he says everybody, I'll find it. But he says that he gives them the knowledge to worship, so that particular deity with that love and devotion, but ultimately they're worshipping him anyway. I think it's somewhere in the middle.
Is that Vidipurvakam or Avidipurvakam?
I can't remember. But and the other thing is that I don't know where I've heard this, but the lineage that we are linked to, the Brahma Gaudiya Saras, that side of it, in India, like when in the previous times when people were linked to it, it was because that this was a very refined branch of Vaishnavism. It was very refined. So there are different branches that still, obviously we know the four main ones, but there are also within that, there's lots and lots of different sub branches that all worship the Lord. But our one, because of like what we were saying, the chanting and the different etiquette that's followed, it's a very refined branch. It's the most, I think they said it's the most refined branch. The whole, that Gaudiya Vaishnava.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes. So this one is authorized. So only Bhagavad Gita is the pramana. So Krishna says, Aham eva, the complete Aham Sarvasya Prabhu. Though that is the one statement mainly establishes Krishna, and everything must be supplementary to support that one. And everyone Tasma Sarveshu Kaleshu Mamanusmarejya. That is another statement to establish the activities of a individual, to understand whether he is in the determination or fixed consciousness towards Krishna. And all things like whatever yat karoshi, yat dasnasi, yat juhosi, dadasi, yat tapaspasi kaunte, all his activities, whether he is kurushva madarpanam, whether he is offering all his things to Krishna, these are the activities to be observed, to see a particular individual is fixed in Krishna conscious or not. It doesn't matter whether he is in Krishna consciousness, our ISKCON society, or outside of ISKCON society, but whether he is following those instructions of Krishna or not, that makes one whether he is in Krishna conscious or not. It may not be ISKCON. There are many other devotees are also, they're pure, but these are the activities to be observed. Thank you, Mataji. Any other
I'm going to try and find that verse if I can, and I'll get back to you.
Yeah, sure, Mataji. This is Kamasthaisthara Jnanaha Prapadhyanti Anya Devataha Tam tam nimam astaya prakrutya neta swaya. So that is Krishna says people are bewildered, they submit themselves to different demigods. Yajanti avidhi purvakam. Even though they are worshipping all the demigods, they are worshipping me indirectly. Avidhi purvakam, indirectly, not directly. But it takes some time. That bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate. Vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. When they come directly to me, then it takes so many lifetimes. Otherwise, they are lost for their desires, submitting themselves to different demigods, though indirectly they are worshipping me. Even adharma, religion is the chest or front part of the Lord. Adharma is the back part of the Lord. Both are part of the Lord itself. One has to come from back to the front and see the face of the Lord. That is the beauty of it. It takes some time. Everyone are directly or indirectly associating with the Lord only. Okay, thank you so much, Mataji. Any other things, or we shall conclude our session for today? Any questions or any additions?
Yeah, Prabhu, based on what you have said, I had one small question. So, when you say those who in adharma, or like those who are worshipping demigods, and they indirectly, of course, worshipping Krishna, and not as a Vaishnava. So, does Lord accept that as well? Like, Lord, does He accept their worship? Like, maybe they are not in that mode to pray to the demigods that help me reach Krishna. Like, in India, when they do ritualistic worship, they Durga, Shiva, Kali, or whoever, they might not say that, but as you mentioned in the shlok, that it's indirectly worshipping Krishna, but still part, because we know that all the demigods also demigods, demons, everything is part of Krishna's Virat Rupa. So he does he accept that also, like if he is not worshipped directly as a Vaishnava, following all the rules and regulations and etiquettes?
Yes, the Lord accepts those things as well. Krishna makes their mind fixed on particular demigod for their desire. What is the purpose they are going to that demigod? It is again their consciousness. It is not fully developed, but he is progressing. So he made his consciousness fixed on that demigod and his faith and everything. And later on, that demigod will help, unless this individual, if he is establishing more and more desires towards sense gratification. So otherwise, he will progress further. Krishna gave that opportunity for the living entities. When otherwise, one has to go direct to the Krishna only, the Supreme Father. But what is the need for other? Because their consciousness is not yet fully ripened. They still have got some desire somewhere or other. One person may be liking one demigod very much because of one feature of that demigod. And likewise, everyone are attracted to different demigods. Some people are attracted to both the Preta Pishaka. And like that. It is again, it will take some time, so many lifetimes. Bahujanma vipakvena samyak yoga samadhina. So many lifetimes. Krishna coming to Krishna. Coming to Krishna is very easy. One simple thing, in a minute we can surrender ourselves to Krishna. But that intelligence, that jnana and tapasya, austerity and faith, complete faith, and what is their desires, that needs to be assessed at every moment. Whether it has got personal sense gratifications to enjoy separately from Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, that makes so much sense. And in the letter also today, which I was reading, like there was a little mention about that we, as Achinta Bheda Tattva, that we are like as quantitatively, like it's so huge. So as little sparks, little plenary portions, as we are moving more and more far away, our spiritual consciousness, like it gets covered with the material desires and consciousness, and that's why it's only the blessed one who can, I think, directly remember Krishna and go directly, and everybody, something about the karmic interference, I think they come in later lifetimes. Yeah, that's my understanding. Hare Krishna. Thank you if I have taken a lot of time with my questions. Hare Bol.
That is, it is needed. Sometimes we need to understand all those things. And we are materially embodied. We are having covered by this lump of matter. So we are bound by it. Somewhere or other, this body keep growing, so our desires also keep growing, and then this is karma bandhana. He will fall into karma bandhana somewhere or other by very forcefully. Even the one doesn't want, he is forcibly. So when Arjuna asks why, even though one doesn't like, he will be put into such kind of conditions. Kama yesha, krodha yesha, rajoguna samudbhavaha. That is the statement of Krishna. Inside there is somewhere other invisible, which is covered by, like a baby is covered by the mavi, or the waters of in the womb mother, and fire is covered by the smoke. Likewise, the desires are covered by the subtle mind, intelligence, and ego. On top of that, the body, according to that desires. It is kama yesha, krodha yesha. All bodies are not the same, even though each body is covered and appearing in different way, which we can observe through our senses. Each body is built separately, and each body is meant for different kinds of sense gratifications according to their desires. So that's why it is difficult to come to Krishna consciousness very easily. But it can happen only through devotees association, gradually cleansing the mind. This rajoguna, tamoguna, rajastamo bhavaha. These are the sattvam prasidati. So in the beginning, Bhagavatam, Suta Goswami says this one. Rajastamo bhavaha kamalopadayashaye. These things will be completely purified when we take the devotional service and keep us in the mode of goodness. Then we see with clear vision. There is no more clouds in understanding Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for kindly sharing that knowledge. Okay, so anything else, or we shall conclude and continue with further japa? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Let's all please unmute and say 3 loud Hari Bols to Prabhu. Hari Bol.
Hari
Hari
Bol.
Bol.
Hari
Bol.
Hari
Bol.
Hare Bol to
Thank
all
you,
the
Mataji.
devotees.
Yeah.
It is very always happy to discuss among devotees on the Srimad Bhagavatam and transcendental topics. Always pleasing to read this Prabhupada's purports. And you're all sincere souls, every day coming and hearing Krishna Katha. That is a symptom of a devotee. Thank you so much, Mataji, for kindly hearing this Bhagavatam and participating in it. So with that, Vancha Kalpaptarubhyasya Krupa Sindhubhya Evata Patihanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo.
Ananta Koti Vaishnavindra ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu